We are talking about the Pauls and Nikki Haley. I think Rand Paul had some interesting things.
Good morning, everyone. As I told you yesterday, I'm ready to say something about the presidential race. I've had a long relationship with Donald Trump, and there's a lot to like there. I'm also a big fan of a lot of the fiscal conservatism of Ron DeSantis. I think Vivek Ramaswamy has been an important voice. Also, have listened to and met with the independent Bobby Kennedy. I'm not yet ready to make a decision, but I am ready to make a decision on someone who I cannot support. So I'm announcing this morning that I'm Never Nikki. And if you go to nevernikki.net, you can let her know that you're not a supporter either. I don't think any informed or knowledgeable libertarian or conservative should support Nikki Haley. I've seen her attitude towards our interventions overseas. I've seen her involvement in the military-industrial complex, $8 million being paid to become part of the team. But I've also seen her indicate that she thinks you should be registered to use the internet, that people posting ideas anonymously. I think she fails to understand that our republic was founded upon people like Ben Franklin, Sam Adams, Madison, John Jay, and others who posted routinely. For fear of the government, they posted routinely anonymously. And I think her failure to really understand that, or to think that you should register through the government somehow for the internet, is something that should disqualify her in the minds of all libertarian-leaning conservatives. So I'm announcing today I'm Never Nikki. You can go to nevernikki.net and sign up and show her that you're Never Nikki also. Thanks.
So I'm going to keep this up just for a second. I don't know. First off, I don't really care what Rand Paul just said. I wanted to be able to see that it's Kiss a Ginger Day.
Why is Harris County trending? I have no idea, but okay, go ahead. I'll find that out later.
Why is Harris County trending? Let's find out. I don't know. Harris.
It's all right.
Okay. Well, I feel like his glasses are askew, and that really bothers me. I don't know why these people.
Well, what bothers me is that he didn't just sit in a room and record that. Yeah, what also bothers me is that he bought nevernikki.net, like as opposed to .com.
Yeah. I guess maybe because of alliteration. Perfect, Michael. Keep them.
I've already gone to nevernikki.net and signed up my name. So
I was already Never Nikki. There's a video of me going off on her the other day on Twitter, and
a video of you on Twitter going off on Nikki Haley?
Yeah.
What?
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like you were Nikki curious at the beginning.
What? Go to look up a guy named Greg Grugan on Twitter and look at his media. There's a video recently of me
Greg Grugan?
Groogan. No, I do not like Nikki Haley. Like, I thought she was a decent governor in South Carolina, but I do not like Nikki Haley. And in the clip, I explain why. It's one of many reasons, but she's just inauthentic. She is like a consultant-created candidate. Not even consultant. It's like she's like a creation of like a specific donor class, the consultants, and
The reason that Nikki Haley's never going to be president is because she's inauthentic. And this proves it. She goes out there and says this because she knows Southern primaries are coming up, and there's a certain section of Republican primary voters in the South who believe the Civil War was not about slavery. So she goes and says that. But this is the same person who, as governor, was removing Confederate statues because of what they represented. So this is why Nikki Haley's not going to be president. And it's also because she's the brainchild of, Raytheon and Lockheed Martin, and she's going to take us to war.
So she's inauthentic, right? So she's out there saying about this whole thing about how the Civil War, first she didn't want to answer, and she said it's like maybe about slavery, but it's about other things. Then she comes back and she's like, well, slavery. But this is the same person who was removing Confederate statues because you didn't like what they stood for. And then she did the same thing when it came to what did Rand Paul just mention? I forgot what he was just talking about.
Free speech.
Oh, free speech. She was like, oh, I didn't really mean that they should register. And so I'm not a big DeSantis fan. I'm not like a DeSantis fan at all, but I'm not a big DeSantis fan either. But one thing that he made a point to bring up was that she always does this, is that she says something. And then when you say she says it, she's like, I didn't say that, or I didn't mean that, or you took my word. But it's like, no, you did say that. You just don't remember that you said that. And Chris Christie used to always say when he was governor back in the day, He was like, I always tell the truth because my mom said if you tell the truth, you never have to remember what you said. And Nikki Haley does not do that.
I mean, does Chris Christie do that, you think?
I think he does. I think he's authentic to who he is. I don't necessarily like everything he does, but I think he's being who he is. With a waistline like that, I think it's just it is what it is.
He's got to stop. He's got to stop with the weight puns.
Ooh. Chris Christie?
Chris Christie.
Does he do a lot of weight puns, like against himself?
He said punching above his weight, and he said something else the other day. I'm like, dude, did you take a look in a mirror?
Well, Charles, so you're Nikki curious, and that's
no,
fine.
I'm not at all.
Okay.
I'm also never Nikki. However, I'm not going to like publicly declare that like Rand Paul did, because if she's the nominee against Joe Biden, I might undervote. I might vote for her. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm not going to go out there and be like, I'm a never Nikki person, but I don't like her at all.
Yeah, you're not never Nikki because you're Nikki curious. What is what was that on?
What was what on?
That clip that I just played.
Of me?
Yes.
Oh, that was on Fox 26's What's Your Point? It's a Sunday morning talk show that we do every week.
Hell yeah. Wait, you do it every single week?
Well, 3 weeks out of the month. I'm usually off one week, maybe 2 weeks occasionally.
Hell yeah, dude. I didn't know you did that. That's great.
It's fun. You should come on sometime. I mean, it's in Houston, so you might.
I will drive to Houston to do that.
So will I. I wasn't invited.
Well, we just got done talking about how we would do all these +2s and everything,
well,
and you just dropped this bomb, and I'm not invited.
Well, I'm not the moderator, but if I will recommend, especially when he does this at Austin.
I will drive to Houston, and I will do that. Absolutely, I will. Ooh, boy!
I think you guys have an Austin version of it, though. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, on your local Fox.
Well, I have to start in the small market of Houston before I get into the big market of Boston. So.
I would stick the finger, but I do not like cursing in public.
So Nikki is the quote unquote right representative of the Uniparty.
Yeah,
that's what she is. She's like the right version where they can argue about social issues, but on all the big stuff, economics, foreign policy, she's the Mitt Romney. Yeah.
Without the pizzazz.
Well, Michael, I wanted to ask you a question about something that Charles just said, because you deal with this kind of stuff, I think, on a regular basis, and maybe Charles does too. And I think maybe it's true, maybe it's not. Do politicians regularly, they just say stuff and then they forget that they said it? Like they're just talking in the moment, they're just saying whatever's right, and then they don't remember that they said it?
All the time.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought these people were smarter than that.
Well, they have to say so much stuff.
Sure.
And so when you're in a crowd in Iowa and there's 10 people there and you think no one's recording, they're gonna say what they think that crowd wants to hear.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, there's a camera because it's 2024. And then, now you're saying something different. So yeah, I think a lot of them do that. Not all of them. I think some of them are like, I feel like Trump more often than not just says, like, Trump and Christie are very alike in that sense, where in most scenarios, I believe they will say the same thing with the different crowds. Like, sure, there are going to be instances in which they don't, but I think more often than not, you'll get the same thing. DeSantis and Haley, I don't get that same vibe from.
So who's going to win Iowa? Let's go back to Iowa. Who's going to win?
Real quick, just a fire round around the table. If Nikki Haley is the Republican nominee, as Brad Swale has predicted, who are you voting for?
Who's the Democratic nominee?
Very
Robert
important.
F. Kennedy?
Joe Biden, but Kennedy's, Michelle Obama, but Kennedy is the independent candidate, and Michael Rechtenwald is the libertarian, and Cornel West is the third party, and Jill Stein is the Green Party.
I would go libertarian, I guess.
Yeah, Michael Rechtenwald or whatever his name is, Rechtenwald. I've voted for, what was that guy's name who ran third party all the time?
Ross Perot.
No. In the recent ones. I can't think of it, but
I've libertarian.
Gary Johnson.
Gary Johnson. Yeah, was it Gary Johnson? Yeah, I think I voted Gary Johnson. I don't know, but I would not vote probably not for Nikki Haley in that scenario. Probably Brian Rechtenwald. Wait, what was his name?
Michael Rechtenwald.
Rechtenwald.
Wreck the swamp. Hashtag.
Boy, that's awful.
He's also like a professor, so he's very geeky. I would vote RFK Jr. though, under that scenario.
Okay, yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, I'd still talk to you, I guess, if you did that.
I would not vote for someone who went out there and said, who genuinely, I don't know if she believes this, and this is just, I'm just hinging on this one issue because it bothers me. Because this is an issue also within the Republican Party, where she goes out there and says that it's not about slavery and then says it is. Like, you need to stick to your gun with whatever you believe. Whether you believe it isn't, stick to it. I'll have more respect for you for saying that. If you do believe it is, stick to it. I have more respect for you saying that. To flip-flop is the problem. And that is a problem in the party, because then you say one thing to the base and the base takes that and they glom on it and they run with it. And there's a lot of people in the base currently who don't think the Civil War was about slavery. So feeding into that, I think, is even particularly lower than other stuff.
Charles, let me ask you, because I mean, for people that are just listening, they may not know this. You're a black man.
Yes.
And when Nikki Haley says that the Civil War was not about slavery, is that personally offensive to you?
Personally offensive? No, I don't get offended by many things. So like, it's not really offensive, but I think it's offensive to our collective intelligence. Like, that's where I find it offensive. Like, you might genuinely believe that, and I think there are a lot of people who do genuinely believe that, but I believe she's also smarter than that, and she has done the work. And for you to go out again and pursue a removal of Confederate statues in your state because of what they stand for, to then say this now 6-7 years later, that's what I find offensive. It's just that it's ignorance and you're playing into ignorance. But no, I don't find it like personal. Like, I don't wake up upset about it. I just think that, like, if you're going to do that, you're probably unfit to be a leader of the Republican Party or a leader in general.
All right. Fair enough.
So is she going to win Iowa?
I don't think so.